Upon this burning ground, where ghost and also corpse are born, united well with what subsists, its counterpart supreme. Dance, cobra, dance. The two grounds of spiritual life are here distinguished. The corpse is the objective body, considered as matter. The ghost is the immaterial counterpart. Some aspects of the human personality are just matter, while certain other aspects of the personality persist in the form of subtle tendencies. These affect the minds of others and to that extent belong to a certain order of reality which, contemplatively, there is no special interest in abolishing. The Guru thus speaks of ghost, incidentally, as he might speak of higher hypostatic principles, always in a figurative sense. He is not directly concerned here with concrete scientific proof for the existence of disembodied spirits called ghosts. They are as much mental fixations to the Advaita Vedanta as the phenomenal world itself, and are treated alike as will presentiments or dream stuff. The concept of a concrete ghost does not arise here, in the sense which might be assumed by an objective scientist. Here all that is legitimately implied is that there are certain subtle tendencies, besides the material body, which go towards the total structure of what we call the personality as known here and now. This ontological, immanent aspect has its second pole in the supreme which is beyond, in the Platonic sense. Although this beyond has finally to be identified with the ground, here, when the arguments and suppositions are completed, the supreme has to be understood before a full sense of the mystery of the Shiva presence, as representing the numinous absolute, can be grasped even intuitively. The existing aspects have their subsisting counterparts which are supreme and transcendental. Pm Pinavam, ghost and corpse, these are ambivalent aspects of the human personality. The first is given to the mind and the second is given to the senses. Insofar as suppositions affect human conduct, they are realities of everyday life. The question of the existence of ghosts with a status of their own does not arise here. Viewed empirically, this world consists of dead bodies after life has been lived, and some other factor known as life, which meets matter and makes the personality whole. This life principle has to be supposed in one form or another, and the term P or ghost just applies to the ontological aspect of such a factor as an entity, even though it may be treated as a mere mental hallucination. Elam param poral has been paraphrased in the third line, to keep as close to the original as possible. Poral would suggest a substance, while param implies the supreme or the transcendent, while elam implies having as a counterpart. The tresses of hair so fragrant, excelling flowers of sweet aroma, in shade they lie within you. Beside this beauteous form, which view, and dance, cobra, dance. The reference here is possibly to the tresses of Parvati which are said to have a natural perfume. This would then be an indirect reference to that type of mysticism of a poetical kind similar to Solomon's Song of Songs in the Bible. But the intensity of this mystical sense of beauty is weak when compared with the virile and direct expression of life which the Shiva symbology in its pure form is meant to revive here. The Shiva approach transcends lyrical effects and bucolic comedy, reaching tragic heights in Shiva's radical dance of frenzy in the name of the Absolute. Erotic mysticism is lukewarm when compared with the full-blooded cosmic vision of the dancing Shiva. Pu Manakam Kujal literally, tress of natural perfume. The suggestion here is that the perfume is indirectly suggested in the hair while in Shiva the bloom of beauty itself is seen directly. Immediacy of vision is here implied. A certain amount of wholehearted, confident attachment or loyalty to the mystical principle is also implicit in this emphasis. As when a child says, "I have the best of all fathers," etc. No reflection on the merits of the Shiva cult is directly intended here, at least in the sense that it is a rival faith to Shakti worship. The aim is merely to compare levels of mysticism, as within lyrical emotional limits or in attaining tragic heights of sublimity. A spotted leopard skin surrounds his form of tender bloom. Within the self he dances say, and Dance, Cobra, dance. The unconventional and antisocial ways of Shiva are well known, although his inner personality belongs, like that of all such figures, to a perennial context of word wisdom. Shiva outwardly belongs to a prehistoric stratum, and he has never caught up with the refinements of a later age. Shiva's enemies, to test him, set a tiger or leopard to kill him. But Shiva killed the leopard and thereafter wore its skin. Then, according to the same legend, an elephant was sent, and he also killed it, and its akin was also donned. Viewed in the light of mystical symbology, these skins represent external material aspects of the personality of the cosmic principle. The tough elephant skin is dark, the negative side of objective life, full of inertia and lethargy. The spotted leopard represents the harsher, louder aspects of creation, the positive willfulness of uncontrolled instinctive life. Both are but outer coverings to the spirit which dances in bliss within. As Vedic wisdom's quintessence, say, that in me is dancing too, and dance, Cobra, dance. Shiva's abode is often referred to as the Great Hill of Silver. He is said to live in the snowy white peaks of the Himalayas, in Kailas, with Gauri, otherwise known as Parvati, Kali or Saraswati, who are all different consorts varying according to the mythological contexts of the many-branched Shiva legends. When South Indian wisdom attains the heights of Mount Kailasa and becomes allied to Vedic wisdom, this rouses the ire of Ravana, who may have been a prehistoric ruler of Ceylon. Ravana is said to have disturbed the happiness of Shiva and Parvati when they took up their North Indian abode. In the light of the historical blast and counterblast in the formulation of the word wisdom in India, this legend gains pointed significance. Here we note that the Guru Narayana alludes to the Vedas as teaching essentially the same wisdom as that of the ancient indigenous Shiva wisdom. The two currents of word wisdom meet in the Shiva symbology which dominates India even to the present day. Inasmuch as the chief deity of Benares is Shiva in the form of Kashi Vishwanath, Sankara dedicated Vedantic verses to this deity of Manikarnika, considered the holiest of holy places for the Hindus, on the banks of Mother Ganges. In thus bringing Vedic wisdom in accord with the Shiva tradition, the Guru is here conforming to the principal trend of spiritual life in India. He for whom a sportive snake and ornament becomes his home, it is in us. So dance, Cobra, dance. This states the converse of what was said in verse 3. The earthy snake is an ornament to the Supreme Absolute, just as the here and now aspect of the Absolute is common to all devotees or to humanity in general. These two poles are evident also in the Christian Lord's Prayer, when it reads, "Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven." No one has seen, not he of blossoms bloom nor even that holy garlanded one, this flower form of thine, so dance, Cobra, dance. The Lord of all creation and the first created is Brahma, the four-faced god born out of a lotus flower. Brahma the god is not to be confused with Brahman the Absolute. Brahma himself being produced out of a flower, as the flower itself emerges from its stem, is poetically described as blossoms bloom. Vishnu is possibly the garlanded one, the consort of Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity. In her name is Shri or holy, summing up all that is good or auspicious in the Vishnu context. Here again is a comparison of the relative depth of mystical feeling implied in the two sets of symbols. One extolling widening values of ease and prosperity, and the other the soaring, virile, radical principle of cosmic mysticism reaching to the heights of tragedy. AUM and all the rest that form the essence of 10 million charms. We now do know and so keep on, and dance, Cobra, dance. AUM is the key or root charm which symbolically implies all its further elaborations. Variants or branches in whatever other religious or spiritual context they may occur on the tree of wisdom. AUM represents Brahman, the Absolute, and contains all the mystical secrets in its single syllable. This is explained in the Upanishads, especially in the short Mandukya Upanishad. which is wholly dedicated to a discussion of complete spirituality, is related to this one syllable in its articulate and inarticulate forms. The aspects of the personality and all the psychic states possible to man are masterfully correlated round this little word. Thus the 10 million other simple words or charms are unnecessary to anyone who understands the wisdom implied in the one holiest of holy charms represented by the three letters A, U and M.